the girl who got the part was my friend, but I killed her.
Another fucking podcast. All the behind the scenes bullshit you didn't know you needed to know. Alrighty, hello everyone. Welcome to another fucking podcast. I'm Maddie. Super excited today. I've got Hannah Wicklund with us. Hi, how are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for being here. I discovered your music probably 2019. So I've been like silently in the background, like been a fan for a minute. So I really
Yay.
appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I was so happy to see you reach out. This is great.
Yeah, thank you. So I saw recently you have a new album coming out 60 days today, June 29th. Can you tell
Yes.
us about the album? What can listeners, fans expect from that?
Oh, this record is my favorite piece of art I have ever made. It's called War on Women, Calling All Good Men. And it's an amalgamation of kind of the last decade of my life. Like the first song off of the record, War on Women, I first began about 10 years ago. And I started it the day that I learned about the Larry Nassar gymnastics case. And it stemmed from such like a real place
Yeah.
and an actual event in this world. And I held that song really close and knew it was really important, and I wanted to honor it, the right way. And so it just kind of it sat waiting for a long time. And it was the week that Trump was reelected. And I found myself down in Florida, and I was opening up for Joan Jett
Awesome.
at, oh my God, a dream come true. And it was at this amazing event called Supergirl Pro that basically supports women in all spaces, but especially in the sports and music
Mm-hmm.
spaces. And so it was, a kind of a we were heading into a different phase, as a country, but that night of free music for, for the sake of supporting women
Right.
really presented me like this like really hopeful path forward, even with the landscape changing.
Mm-hmm.
And she had some supremely inspiring words for me that night that completely shifted kind of my mental sphere a little bit as an artist and as a woman. Um, and so it was on my way home from that festival that song that I had started all those years prior kind of found its completion. And the phrase war on women, it's really intense, and it packs a punch, and it's bold,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that that's what the times are calling for, and I don't think that it's too extreme. I think that it's, if anything, just quite on the nose.
100%. And I think that that's the thing, like with art in general and the political landscape we're in, and also just being women in general, regardless, like we have such a different perspective on our lives and what happens to us and the stories that all women can relate to. And I think that that kind of art and those kind of voices so need to be heard. So I appreciate hearing what this is about.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'd say this record is kind of like half rooted in my personal experience and half rooted in kind of my observations and of like the world at large. And
Mm-hmm.
together, I think it creates like a really authentic expression of what being a woman has felt like, and what being like an empathetic, like caring person in this world has felt like. And it was really important to me. For a long time, this record was, just going to be called War on Women.
Mm-hmm.
And, I love men, and I've
Right.
known so many amazing men in my life, and my family is littered with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was really important to me to, kind of not even leave room for like the, she hates men,
Yeah.
man hater, war on woman equals man hater,
Mm-hmm.
like
100%.
yeah, because ultimately, like, I love men,
Yeah.
that's part of my trouble. And so I know that there's a lot of really brave, beautiful souls out there in all different bodies. And so I want to, kind of lend an olive branch, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak, as a woman at the end of this like record that really encapsulates, my story and also, holds space for the rage a little bit, but
Right.
it's rock and roll. I mean,
Yeah.
my music has been holding space for my rage this whole time. So that's nothing new. But it's definitely, I think it's just my favorite thing I've ever done. I'm so proud of it. I self-produced it. I went into the studio with the engineer who had engineered the record that I first did in Nashville with like Bomb Through the Breeze, and
Mm-hmm.
Sadler Baden had produced that record, and Devin Vaughn was the engineer, and Devin's a good old South Carolina boy, and so I kind of had moved back down to the low country last year. And so this record kind of tells the story of that move a little bit, and kind of the energy kind of going behind it. And so I found myself kind of in a way back home
Mm-hmm.
in South Carolina, and this record was pretty much written mostly on Folly Beach and recorded in Charleston with Devin, who used to live in Nashville, and that's where we met, but we found ourselves now doing a record together in Charleston. And what's funny is Devin also was engineering on I had initially was self-producing The Prize, my
Right.
last record. And so I had done some stuff with him in Charleston before I had head up to Nashville to finish the record. And so Devin's like actually been my engineer on all of my records, like in
That's
some
cool.
way
Mm-hmm.
the whole time. So yeah, it was kind of like this really cool full circle moment with him, and he played drums, and um yeah, and Scott played bass. It was just like it was a really fun, amazing record to
That's
make.
that's awesome. And with that, I saw on your website and social media, you've put out these like 50-second little trailers for each song, and I've never seen someone else do that ever, which I think is so fucking cool. So tell
Thank
me like
you.
how that came to fruition.
So I had a pretty unbelievable experience in the industry the last few years, and I am so grateful. I'm like around 2 months free from like a ring of really weird men. And it was, I like to say it's almost, I mean, they really just like broke my brain in a
Mm-hmm.
way. And I kind of ran with it. And so I kind of like to say I feel like I left the music industry and now I'm just part of like the music business.
Yeah.
And so when it came time to be releasing this record, and I'm like, I've been an independent artist this whole time, but some of the funny business that happened was me trusting like another label to bring my label in underneath, and that I
Mm-hmm.
don't recommend.
Yeah.
Don't do that, ladies, especially. And so I basically wanted to release this record in just like a truly authentic way. And I love every single song.
Mm-hmm.
Every single song is so important to me and is so worthy of its moment. And I love the moon, and part of my freedom and the expansion that I've gone through in the last year is me like fully embracing my relationship with like the cycles around
Mm-hmm.
me, and like fully just submitting to nature, and as a woman just like reclaiming more of the ancient awareness that we all know and feel, and like the bubbling up is definitely happening, I think, across the board. And
Yeah.
so like I'm just like feeling more tapped in than ever. And I gave up alcohol a few years ago, so I'm
Congrats.
just, thank you, I'm quite clear-minded and feel really coherent. And so that all kind of tied together inspired me to release my record. First, through like physical.
Mm-hmm.
So CDs and vinyl will be coming out, I think, in July.
Awesome.
But the release date of June 29th, it will be available for digital download from my website. And the first song, War on Women, will be available on streaming platforms. But it will take essentially a full year
Mm-hmm.
for the record to reach streaming.
That's
Because I'm going to be releasing one song per full moon to streaming, but you can hear the record right
yeah.
away and support me and this album and my art by buying a record. And, you know, you kind of, I don't know, when all of that, the craziness kind of came to a calm, and I was like, well, what do I want to do?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how would I want to lead my life? And that's like giving the art a moment to breathe and actually have its time in the sun. And so I have a lot of really amazing visual content planned, and like this unbelievable other big project that's tied to the record. And you know, in a world where everything's become so quick and immediate, I think
Mm-hmm.
there's something beautiful about like letting something unfold over time. And
100%.
yeah, and I kind of took a page from the movie theater like circuit, you know, like you have these productions and you pour all this, you know, all these resources and energy and love and creativity into these projects, and then they're not giving it to streaming right away.
Right.
You know, like they're still honoring the experience between the fan and the art, and like providing a space for that, and like letting you support it so that they can afford to make other amazing things.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think that music should be the same way. I feel like as artists we've been tricked into giving our music away immediately to like the cheapest platform. And
Right.
there's so many others.
I
So
I agree with that 100%. That's like definitely me with this podcast as well as I do every other Saturday. Like I want you to wait, like, and I think it keeps the momentum, it keeps the excitement, and it keeps
mhm,
people engaged, and that's what you want. You want your art to be heard, you want your art to be seen, and dropping everything at once, a whole album, like vinyl and CDs very much so, you sit and listen to the whole thing. But with streaming, oh, I might just pick and choose the titles I like, or the tracks that sound interesting to me, and you do lose that like fullness to it, which I think is really special. So I'm excited for every full moon now. I can't wait. I did want to go back to it in time a little bit because I just
mhm,
thought this was so fascinating with the Living Vault from 2024, and it's your music
mhm.
from 12 years old to 17.
Yeah.
What did that feel like? Because I know what it's like when I go look at my old journals from when I was 12, and it's a whole other different girl. Like, what was that
Yeah.
like?
Well, I don't, I feel so different, but I also don't feel like I've strayed very far from that 12-year-old girl that wrote
Hmm.
those songs. Um, but it was very interesting going back and re-recording those songs because I stopped playing a lot of them.
Yeah.
Some of them like in the center and in the back half in particular. Were really written about like a truly painful, devastating experience to have as a young girl. And I had no idea the weight of what I had gone through until years later. But I had stopped playing those songs that I had written about these, you know, men twice my age.
Hmm.
And these like really just profound experiences that were, you know, kind of thrust upon me. And, you know, my art definitely took a hit. And like that time in my life where I was 12 to 17, I was writing so much music, and it was like really my natural go-to. Like I
Right.
was going through something, I would naturally turn to the guitar. I would naturally have all of these, you know, realizations, and I was really there for myself through music, and my songwriting was so special. And then I turned after that experience though, and like coming out of that, and then in combination with moving to Nashville and then being
Hmm.
paired up with like my relationship with songwriting just really shifted away from that like pure place for many years. And so by the time I got to re-recording The Living Vault, it was like me going going back and playing songs that I hadn't, and just reminding myself of like, wow, like I I truly, truly, truly love
Yeah.
writing music. And it's the most authentic expression that I have as an
Mhm.
artist. And like I really leaned into, and I love my visual art, but that was really there for me in a time when playing music and writing songs was so painful, because when I didn't know, for a long time what was happening with the prize,
Right.
I was turning to my visual art, because like even like sitting down to write a song, I would burst into tears because I had
Mhm.
no idea what was happening in my life. And
Yeah.
so yeah, the Living Vault was like this like unbelievable cathartic experience, and I feel like I've really like locked back into my
Mhm.
purest self. Especially
Yeah.
after finally like really releasing it, because that record was supposed to come out on streaming, and it was supposed to be like out in the world and have like a full whatever kind of release is supposed to be. And that was kind of withheld, and that was like part of the bargaining chip of the situation that I was in. And so that's why I literally released it like the first day that I could in
Yeah.
February. That was like the signal. That was like my first
I'm
signal of
here.
like, okay, I am meant to do music. I am strong enough to persevere. Here I am. So
Mhm.
yeah, the Living Vault and then touring it the last couple of months has just been sweet. And like I've reclaimed these songs in like a way where, I definitely I feel for the 16-year-old girl who's writing them. I mean, I
Right.
do. I look back on her, like you said, like she's like a different, like almost
Yeah.
like a different person, like.
Yeah.
And but that was like the beginning of me really getting away from myself, and I can
Mhm.
see it in like the desperation for love and affection and acceptance in the lyricism.
Yeah.
And I just.
Well, I think that's like the best part of like being lucky enough to age and being lucky enough to grow as a person and as an individual is like you have that version of who you are at 12, 13, 14, all these years, and then you reach like this cyclical place where you lose that version of yourself. But the older you get, I feel like there is still part of you that comes back and can and reconnect with that part too. And I think that's a beautiful part of that piece of art that you've put out there. And speaking of art, I did want to talk about your visual art as well, because you have these amazing, like intricate, hand drawn pieces and paintings. How did you discover that style? Aside from just your music style, how did you get into that?
Well, kind of like my first songbook is from when I was 4 years old, and I don't remember a time in my life where I wasn't singing and making up my own songs. Same thing with drawing and painting. My mom's an artist,
Mm-hmm.
so I always had access to all sorts of supplies, and I think. I mean, my mom still has art that I did from the time I was like 3 years old, 4 years old, and I was going to pre-K. I would bring the same piece of paper like to pre-K and back home
Mm-hmm.
for like 4 days on end. And it was like this kind of like cheetah print shape.
Right.
It's like my patterns of my youth. It's named that because I that was like my very first art style. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was my expression. So I started doing mandalas probably when I was like 6 or 7. And I have like a ton of my like high school art has like little cutouts of my mandalas, and my bands, the Stepping Stones. A lot of our artwork on our CDs were mandalas that I had drawn. And
Yeah.
so I loved that style. And then as I got older, and like the mandalas were like very much so a meditative practice and like a
Mm-hmm.
very long form thing, I started getting more into painting later on. And really the mandalas were like super black and white for a long time, and then I started adding color, and then I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be able to like mix all the color together and just kind of be a little bit more abstract.
Yeah.
So it's funny because I have like I have like a ton of different styles and they're all kind of like a balance of like pattern, but also very abstract.
Mm-hmm.
So I love like black and white and checkerboard, kind of predictable, consistent
Right.
vibe, but then I also love like chaotic, abstract, and then of course nature.
I
I love
love
it
that.
all.
It's a little bit of like left brain, right brain, like both going 50-50 with the black and white and the color.
Yeah,
I love
very
that.
astute observation. Yes, yes, I
I
like
do
that.
want to ask you if you wouldn't mind a few would you rather questions because I like making people
Oh,
choose.
yes, that sounds
Would
fun.
you rather only work as a musician or only work as a visual artist if you had to choose one for the rest of time?
Whoa, girl. Okay, on the spot. I think I would have to go with musician because I love people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get
And I
that.
think that's just like art is supremely there for you. And like it's a really great one-on-one, place.
Mm-hmm.
But there is nothing at all in the world like playing a show and connecting with an audience and
Yes.
then connecting with them after. Like there's just, it's like the full expression of like sharing your energy. And that's just too good.
Yeah,
Too good.
100%. Would you rather collaborate with your biggest inspiration or discover a completely new artist and build something fresh together?
You know, I think I would definitely choose the latter. I think I'd rather be part of making something new than like
Mm-hmm.
chasing after nostalgia.
Yeah.
Um, I've been fortunate to meet and be around some people that I consider um, inspirations to me. And I think I don't know. I think that there's something beautiful about letting that just kind of like be a
Mm-hmm.
moment. But in the world of like collaborating as like a, still like young,
Yeah, and
eager
well,
creative, I think I'd want to be in the know about what
yeah,
the young kids are doing.
and yeah, and it's all about bringing people up and creating the next thing because I think that's the most important part of any of the entertainment industry. Um,
Mhm.
would you rather be constantly touring or mostly writing and recording at home?
Wow. I've kind of done a little bit of both at this point. I've had some good balance, and that's really hard to say. I've been in the writing at home,
Mm-hmm.
not touring phase for the last couple years. So I'm gonna say right now, I would definitely choose the being on tour all the time. I'm ready for that
Awesome.
again. Yeah.
Awesome. And one more, would you rather only play guitar on stage or only be the singer of the vocals?
Whoa. I think I'd like to try just being the singer.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean, you fucking shred, but I figured I was like, let's see which way. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think that would be fun. I started out doing a lot of musical theater when I was young and yeah,
yeah.
okay. What was your favorite show that you were in?
Oh, so this one, my high school theater teacher like was not a fan of me, so it was like, whatever. But we did the Addams Family. And all my friends we were like, "Oh yeah, you're so Wednesday." I played Thing. I played the hand. I have one somewhere in this room, but she literally like refused to cast me aside from Thing, but I
Oh,
love it to
girl,
this day.
that is so funny. I love that story.
I had the best hand. What about you?
That's so good. Okay. I did this play called Ruthless,
Hmm.
and it was like kind of like an off-Broadway show.
Okay.
And I was the only like kid in the cast. It was only like a 5 or 6 person cast, and it was all adults and one kid, and it was like a dark comedy. And
Mm.
essentially, I auditioned to be maybe Longstocking, maybe,
Yeah.
and I didn't get the part. I got understudy, and the girl who got the part was my friend, but I killed her in the play
Yeah.
and so that I could have her part because I was the understudy. And
Hmm.
then I proceed to like kill my grandma and like my mom and like it's a brutal play. I was 8 years old when I played it. It
But that's
was
the most fun when
pretty
you're a
insane.
kid like that.
Oh yeah, it was like a real deal like it was like a theatrical performance,
I
you
love
know?
that.
So yeah, so that was my favorite, but like it was just crazy. The music was really good.
That's
So
fun. Yeah.
yeah.
I love
Hmm.
that. A few rapid fire questions as well, just like
Okay.
whatever comes to mind, first thing you think of before we wrap things up here. Best piece of advice you've received from a fellow artist.
Oh man. Well, I'll just say what Joan Jett said to me, and I held it close, 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 close. In the last year and change. And that is, she looked me in the eyes and she said, the men will do anything to keep a woman in rock and roll down. They will sabotage you. They will call you crazy. They will saddle you with debt. And lo and behold, she knows what she's talking about. And it's it was, I don't know as much advice, but
Mm-hmm.
validation
Yeah.
of my experience up to that point and then beyond. And yeah, I think that was one of the most helpful things that anybody's ever said to me in the industry. Unfortunately.
Yeah, us girls gotta stick together. I believe that through and through, whether it's music, whether it's just going to the grocery store, any of those things.
Mhm.
Best piece of advice you'd give to a new young artist. Might be the same thing.
Oh man, yeah, like again, like I feel like it's like my message to pass along to folks is that, but more so I'd say like it sounds so silly, but like definitely follow your intuition and
Mm-hmm.
like let your intuition guide you and you have more time than you realize.
Yeah.
I I have now had the most insane decade. My life from 18 to 28 was just wild.
Yeah.
And I wish that I had just taken a few more deep breaths and meditated on some things.
Mm-hmm.
And, if I also, I'd say like wish I had, when people were pressuring me to do things quicker,
Mm-hmm.
done things even more
Slowly, like,
slowly.
yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, time. Take your
Perfect.
time.
And finally, 5 words to describe your new album releasing this June. Or in parts.
Yeah. Okay. Uh bold, um raw, feminine, brave, and beautiful.
Awesome. I love
Yeah.
that. Thank you so much. Bold, brave,
Thank you.
beautiful, all of the things. Miss Hannah Wicklund, thank you for joining us. Another fucking podcast. Check it all
Another fucking
out.
podcast.
Fuck
Love it.
yeah. HannahWicklund.com. Catch the album, and I will be waiting for every full moon to be there. I'll let you know.
Ah,
So
you rock.
excited. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Have a good one.
You too.